Good morning, traders. Today is Monday, November 1st. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream, and we've got ourselves a gap and go so far this morning. Okay, so the overnight market traded higher, traded up above the previous all-time high we created on Friday, and then rotated at higher prices. So when the market opened this morning, the first order of business for the market was a gap fill to push lower to fill that gap. It literally just created some good taper on the low, and now it's pushing higher. So that is a gap and go scenario. This is not a opening in the previous day's range, expect chop scenario. This is the market could pick a direction and just start going. So as the market's pulling back here a little bit while I'm talking, we're looking for support right around this node that it created this morning. So call that like 46.0675. Can it find support in there as it pulls back down? If so, it remains bullish as a gap and go. If not, the gap fill is the next order of business. So getting down to yesterday's high at 46.01 and then looking for support at yesterday's high. So essentially, if the market can stay above this level, above 46.06, it's bullish for continuation higher. But if it falls below that level, the next target is first to fill the gap to get down to yesterday's high, looking for support. If it gets down there, find support. It's a good long trade for continuation higher. It's still a gap and go. However, if it pulls down there and then it continues lower, then we're looking at pulling back down into yesterday's range, making this morning's trade a look above and fail of yesterday's range. So we'd expect a little more of a pullback, and we would basically just use each little node of volume as potential support. So you got the node literally right before, so that would give the gap and go if they come down to here, find support, and then get continuation. So the next stop would be 45.92. And then this big node right here around the 45.85-ish level. And then, of course, they've got these 2 weak references we left behind on Friday, so they may just need to repair those, getting into this node that ends at about 45.78. And then that's sort of the last major support. If that fails, the market's looking for a larger pullback. Okay. All in all, I'm looking at last week as a breakout. Friday as a breakout. So I was looking at, okay, we're starting to pull back down, so it looks like a gap fill might be in play here. I was looking at this area, I was looking at this area here as a balancing area. So I would see Friday's trade as breaking out of that balance, which is bullish. Oftentimes balance leads to excess. So spending a couple of days bouncing around in this range gives us the momentum to break out for a couple of days and continue higher. So when you take that analysis and you add the gap and go this morning, it makes the trade bullish here. So let's see what happens when they get back down here and try to fill the gap. Can they find support around yesterday's high? Okay, the internals are opening bullish this morning, but that's to be expected with the gap higher. So we'll give them a little bit of time to kind of pull back in, give us a clearer signal. NQ looks like it bounced off its 20 moving average on the 15-minute candles. It's common support. NQ opened with a very small gap, but just traded straight lower. So it's looking for support here. So now is this node here that at right around 4606-ish, as that is now acting as resistance. You know, it was support for the first push this morning. Now it's becoming resistance. I would say as long as we stay below that node, we still need to go back down to yesterday's high looking for support. But if we can push back above it, we could get continuation higher from here. As still a gap and go. Okay, so the market's still struggling to get back above this resistance around 06. 0607 area. So it probably needs to come back down to yesterday's high, but it could find support right around there. All right, well, we're waiting for that gap to fill. They're being slow about it this morning. Let's go ahead and run through the good mornings. Good morning, Mangala. Good morning, Naif. Good morning, RK Leon. Good to see you all. Mangala, having a hard time sleeping after quitting drugs. It happens, man. The weed, it could be the thing. That's very common that when people stop smoking weed, but it only takes a few days. And then your sleeping will be back to normal. Now, if you got to get more than 4 hours a night, dude, that's not enough. Got to get that 5 to 6. Coffee is better than tea, in my humble opinion. Good morning, Rad. Good to see you. Welcome. Nicholas is here. Good morning to you. David Glass back with us. Good morning. Mangala had a power outage too. Boy, it's been a tough morning for you. Can't sleep. Can't keep the lights on. Well, we're glad you're here. Jonathan from Australia. Ahoy. Good day. All right, there's the gap fill. So now we're looking for support. It doesn't have to be at yesterday's high to a tick. We got this little node right here. So if that can hold... Oh, no, sir. That was quick. Okay, so the market's looking for a little bit more of a pullback. Next major support is going to be around 91.50, 91.75-ish. NQ's testing that 20 moving average once again. Looking for support right there. Okay, this does feel a little bit like a liquidation break. Might just be squeezing out some of the longs from the overnight. Got to backfill these levels with low volume. We got 82 contracts right here at 45.99.75. So if the market's going to continue selling today, it should come back in there and backfill that a little bit, and then bring in more sellers for continuation lower. It's not very good taper at the low here, but getting back above yesterday's high is a little bit bullish. So the market is experiencing a little push-pull here, a little bit of indecision. Once again, the NQ finding support right at that 20 moving average on the 15-minute candles. Philip, good morning to you. To Manfis, to Memphis. Good to see you this morning. Naya, if you had a long ad this morning, you can always just restart if it's one of the long ones. Nor Auto Trading, good morning to you. Scooball, good morning. Rocket, got my 3 on the Russell. Congrats. Shubaho Deep, good morning to you. My friend from Belarus, good morning. Phoenix, good to see you. Welcome back. Mark, good morning. Brett, good to see you. Ronald, good morning to you. Julio, good morning to you. Alpha Trader, good morning. Vincent, good to see you. All right, we're getting a little bit of resistance here at yesterday's high. Still too early to make a call, though. Vincent, good morning. Ray, good morning from Wisconsin. Good to hear it. That's where me ma lives. Henry, good morning to you. David, good to see you. David V. Fred, good morning. Jeremy Jones just trailed that short for 7 points. Well, congrats. It's a great little trade first thing in the morning. So, Charles, do you wait a bit after open to develop for sentiment? Normally it takes me a while. This morning I got short for the gap fill. And now I'm sitting on my hands waiting for more information. But it just depends. The most of the time, if I'm going to take a trade in the first half an hour of the day, it's usually on a gap. Otherwise, if we open inside the previous day's range and the market, that increases the odds the market's just going to chop around, just grind up and down. So then I often wait. But I don't have any set rules. I just go with the flow. If I know what the market's doing, I trade it. If I don't, I wait until I do. Two-man fists. I'll rename myself if you need. That would be quite a sacrifice. Nah, man. Just accept me mispronouncing it. Oh, nah, if they're hitting you with another mushroom ad, they really want you to buy that product, and I fully support it. Trading Donkey. Hope you all bought that Tesla play I posted Friday before the close. Yeah, Tesla pre-market was pushing. Is it still? Yes, sir. Tesla's on a gap, and go. Rob, good morning to you. Okay, so I don't love the taper at the low here. 900 contracts, 1100, 900, 1098. That kind of increases the odds. The market needs to get some more two-sided trade down in here if it's going to make good support of this node. Doesn't have to, but it's just slightly higher probability. Also looks like the Q is starting to push through that 20 moving average. So it might need a further pullback. Looking for support. Okay, ticks starting to push below that zero line is a sign that more sellers are beginning to pile on at these lower levels, looking to push the market lower. Okay, so we've printed the B period, and now we're one time framing lower. It's a little bit bearish. All right, so we're pushing down into this next potential support from Friday at 45.92. We're also testing that 20 moving average now on the ES, which might bring in some buyers. So if it does and it starts to push us back up again, we're looking for resistance for continuation lower. That's a great point. Oh, yeah, we did have a spike on Friday, but we're already below that spike now. Okay, so we're bouncing off that 20. That's bringing in some support here, the algos that automatically buy that. So the question is, do the ticks stay below the zero line? And do we start to push into some resistance? That would be bearish for further downside continuation. Next node of support is down here. Okay, right in this area. So you guys can see it's not an exact level, but the market could find support anywhere in there. But we got to keep in mind that once it starts heading back to weak references, it often wants to repair them. So we may need to repair these levels down to like 81 and then find support in the node from Thursday. So let's wait and see. Oof, there it goes. Okay, ticks are starting to recover a little bit here. So let's watch this node right around 93. Does that act as resistance? If so, we may have further downside continuation. All right, we don't seem to be getting much resistance in there. The buyers are continuing to pile on here. All right, so the last potential resistance here is going to be this node from yesterday. So call it between like 45.9875 and the high of yesterday at 46.01. If the market's able to grind its way back through here, getting above yesterday's high, that would be bullish to me for upside continuation. Value, the blue shaded inbox, is still overlapping to higher. We squeezed out all of the weak hand longs from the overnight and gave stronger hand longs a chance to step in. So that would be bullish for continuation to the upside. But Charles, you're one time framing lower. What about that? Well, that is true. We are one time framing lower, but it is not uncommon for this market to push one direction for the A and B period and then reverse the rest of the day. It does happen. So we don't really get too worried about one time framing unless it continues into the C period. I mean, the buyers are just coming in strong here. Okay, market feels like it's starting to find some support here. Uh, Jitten, is the spike acting as resistance? Um, Not the fact that it's a spike, but yeah, that area. So you can see as the volume builds over here, we're getting the resistance over here, right? That's pretty common. But the buyers continue to step in here. So I think they're looking to get back above yesterday's high. Let's see if they can do it. Looks like at the moment that 20 moving average on the NDX that was support after the market pushed through, it became resistance. Now we're trying to push through that again as well to the upside. So pushing through it multiple times in a row is often a sign of rotation. Donkey, has the market convinced you that it's not about to go up in a straight line? That's what it's trying to do. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'd never expect the market to go up in a straight line. Anything down at 45.77 area. I mean, yeah, that's like 45.77. I would look a little higher than that, like 78, 78, 75 ish. That's potential support if they needed to repair these weak references. But we're not quite there yet. Like I said, I think this pullback was the squeeze of the overnight traders, which were net long. And it gave this little pullback right in here. This gave stronger hands buyers a chance to get in. So I don't think those buyers are getting squeezed out unless the market starts to get back down into here. So this was just one of those push-pull moments where the buyers and sellers are competing. And we don't know which end is going to win just yet. If we get above yesterday's high, it'll be the buyers who are winning. And if we start to get back down into this area down here, below, say, 90, then the sellers are winning. But until then, they're just kind of competing here to see who's going to take charge. That's why we got advancers versus decliners pulling back while ticks are trending higher. Trading Donkey, didn't Friday's close, yesterday's Global X make you think that? Oh, yeah. I mean, it made me think the potential, like for a breakout today, for a gap and go. Sure. Made me think that. But it made me think, not with like any kind of crazy probability, like just as a possibility, it could gap and go. Mark is saying the fact that it pushed so far down, but then goes right back to the spike is bullish. R is pointing out bad taper at the low. That is true, but this is like this phenomenon is like a liquidation break. If when you watched what happened, this literally happened in like less than a minute. It was just like bloop bloop, and then it pulled right back up. So the market, they never got a chance to have two-sided trade there. It was just somebody got squeezed, and there were buy orders, already in the books here, and so as soon as those got filled, the market pulled right back up. So I'm not going to worry about the taper at the low here the same way I wouldn't worry about the taper in a liquidation break. Okay, well, they're starting to get back above that moving average on the NQ. Ticks are still trending higher. I do think they're trying to get back above yesterday's high. Can they do it? B high is weak. That is true. B period high is weak. right, sellers are starting to win. They're starting to overpower the buyers here. Fausto dump, dump, dump. Are you short the market? They're still just pushing and pulling. It's a tug of war. Who's going to win it? We don't know yet. Tom, why is B high weak? Because it is one tick from the halfback. That little white line that you see there. Ooh, my friend from Belarus has the right idea here. Hit the like button, please. 112 people watching, only 37 likes. Surely there's somebody else that appreciates getting to watch the market from a 3D perspective. See how much time we spend at each level and how much volume we bring in. Thank you for those likes. Let's pop over and take a look at the NQ. Looks very similar to the ES. It's kind of just, it's got this little tug of war happening between like 15, 830 and 15,784. So getting above the 30 number or below the 74 number. Could lead to continuation one direction or another. Back to the ES. Marco, the scenario related to long liquidation you mentioned before is most likely going to happen, and the upside auction would also probably make a little short squeeze. Yeah, well, that's the thing. With any time the market is doing what it's doing right now, where it's just kind of grinding around in a range, trying to pick a direction, whenever it breaks out of there one way or the other, it does it with a little bit of oomph because of the opposite traders. So the people going long here, if we start to squeeze lower, they're going to exit very quickly, and vice versa. Okay, so at this point, the market is one-time framing lower. If that C period high remains below the B period high, it is bearish for further downside continuation. But if that C period high can work its way up and get 2 ticks above the B period high, we're likely to go rotational, go sideways. Shubaho Deep seems like more of a balance day today. Could be. It's kind of a strange place to balance, though, right? If we're going to have a balancing day, odds are we'd pull back down into this previous balancing area. It's not unheard of. We had it right before we had the big pullback. Let me just pull up the ES chart here on the daily. So you can see here that we did have this happen before, where we had a balancing area here. Okay. And then we literally built another balancing area right on top of it. But that's pretty rare. Normally when you have balance, you break out with some excess. So we've got the balancing area here. We'd expect to get a breakout, not just build another balancing area on top. But it's, you know, market can do whatever it wants. So I'm not opposed to it. So what that would look like if we were going to pull back down into this balancing area would be that the market would get down in here and then probably, you know, by tomorrow, rotate down to the opposite end of balance. As a big look above and fail. All right, well, with that, I am off to the private stream for Brigade members only. If you're not a member of the Brigade, there's a link in the description. Costs $10 a month to join and hang out for the rest of the day. If not, I look forward to seeing you all here tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.